Holly and lighting is mediocre. Okay. Hi everyone, it's Holly and I'm here with my March wrap-up. Hello Murphy, please don't get in my way. And these are the physical books I read this month. And hopefully Murphy doesn't try to get into it. He already has, and hopefully he doesn't again. So, I read 14 books this month. Totally meant to tally up the star ratings, and I didn't. So I guess you're just gonna find out what they are as I read. So that's fun. So first, I finished The Golden Lily. I think I was reading it when I did my last wrap up. So I finished The Golden Lily, which is book number 2 in the Bloodline series by Richelle Mead. And this is a YA paranormal vampire adjacent series. This is a reread for me, and I gave this 4 stars. Okay, so no, hold on. So I gave this 5 stars originally, which is what I'm leaving it as, like on Goodreads and stuff. But this time I say 4 stars. It's still a really good book. It's just a 4-star read, but that's fine. I just really love these characters, and the romance starts to like progress in this one, so that's fun. And a lot happened. Yeah, and my rereading of the series has not been a disappointment, which is good. And I did an audiobook from the library. It was 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Yeah, I gave this 3 stars. Honestly, like, this was not what I thought it was. Like, I don't even remember where I heard about this book. I mean, it's interesting, but it was a little creepy to read or listen to. Maybe the narrator's voice was kind of creepy, so that probably contributed to it. I actually had to listen to this on double speed, and now I listen to everything on double speed, so thank you audiobook for that. It really helped me get through those podcasts because the narrator was so slow. And normally I listen to my audiobooks at 1.5 speed, but this I had to go up. He basically is telling you about all these different types of like power people use, and he uses like specific examples and situations historically to show you what people did to like use that power, gain power, and then like the downfalls of those power. It's a little unsettling. Like, if you wanted to, like, basically the book is written kind of like it's teaching you how to manipulate people, and I don't think that's his actual intention. I guess you could read it that way. I don't think that was his intention. So it's a little creepy to see like how you can be manipulated basically by like leaders, like political leaders, whatever, royalty, that kind of stuff. It definitely opens your eyes a little bit. And then I finished Only a Breath Apart by Katie McGarry, and this is, I gave this 4 stars. This is a YA contemporary. It has like some sort of like magical realism elements, I guess. I mean, I feel like you could read it as magical realism, or you can read it as not magical realism. I would say this borderlines on new adult. It deals with some pretty serious topics, like things like abuse. Yeah, oh geez, sorry, excuse me. It's definitely on the darker side, which her books usually are. But this one was particularly hard for me to read, like, the content. And I'm not easily, like, bothered by content. And this one was really hard to read. The friendships and, like, the relationships in here are really good. I think Katie McGarry does a really good job of writing stuff like that. It's one of the things I love about, like, the Pushing the Limits series. I love, like, those characters and their, like, little friend group and everything. And so she does a good job of that here as well. If you are interested in this story, I would read it. But if you are not, then maybe don't read it. Like, it might bother you too much to not be worth it. I don't know. But I liked it. 4 stars, you know. And then I read The Indigo Spell by Richelle Mead, which is the 3rd Bloodlines book. So I've been trying to read a book a month, and this got me caught up to a book a month because I was a little behind with The Golden Lily. And I gave this one 5 stars, which was its rating before, and it's still its rating. I believe this was originally my favorite, so we'll see if it maintains that. I think this is a lot of people's favorite. The romance really picks up in this one, and I think that might be a contributing factor. I think in the next book, it might be the 5th book, Adrian starts getting POV chapters, and I'm super excited about that. Yeah, I won't say a ton, you know, but a lot happened in here, actually. Like, a lot happened in general, so, you know. But again, rereading this series is not a disappointment. And then Read-A-Rama started, and I should have my Read-A-Rama vlog up by now, which is my first time doing a reading vlog, any kind of vlog outside of Disney World. Not that my Disney vlogs are high quality or anything, but excuse me. No. So for Read-A-Rama, I think I did a TBR video for Read-A-Rama. I focused on ebooks, and so I did finish 4 books for Read-A-Rama, which was really good. So the first one I finished was The Risk by Elle Kennedy, which is book 2 in the Briar U series. I give this 4 stars. It was really good. I really liked it. I feel like I remember hearing a lot of people are disappointed in it. I think Jessica from Peace Love Books said she liked it. And she was like the first person I had seen say that she, like, not that people hated it, but that they were disappointed. She was like the first person I heard not say that. And so that made me a little more, you know, okay with going into it. It's an enemies to lovers story with some like fake dating elements. I'm not a huge fan of fake dating. I'm not really a huge fan of anything that involves lying in my romance, you know. But I really liked this romance. I thought it progressed really well. Like, the pacing was done. It felt very real. It felt natural. It didn't feel rushed or anything. I liked their interactions with each other. And I really like that, as much as I love Briar, and I do, I like that we're kind of like, hockey was included. Like so Harvard kind of plays a role here, and it was good. I really enjoyed it. And there's a new character named Ruby, and I really loved her. I don't think she'll ever get her own book because of stuff that happens in this one, but I hope she continues to show up because I think she is just a quality character and I love her. So then I read Shanghai Wind by Chloe T. Barlow, and this is a novella in a series that I started reading years ago. It's contemporary romance. This was like so short. I gave it 2 stars. It's too short in my opinion. I was super excited because it's a multiracial relationship. It's a multiracial or interracial, whatever, relationship, which I was super excited about, and then it was just such a disappointing read. It was so fast and it felt forced, and it's a lot of issues that you normally see with novellas. People keep texting me. It's really annoying. Group chats suck. And then my 3rd book for Read-A-Rama was an e-arc I had gotten from NetGalley, which was A Perfect Amish Match by Vanetta Chapman, which I gave 4 stars. I've read 1 inspirational romance before. Excuse me. No. 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 And this is my first Amish romance. It is set now, like it's a contemporary set book. The inspirational I had read previously was a historical. And this is book 3 in the Indiana, whoa. I'm from the US, I know how to say our state names. Indiana Amish Brides. I just thought this story was so precious, and I feel like people would say precious like sarcastically, but I mean it in like the most authentic of ways. It was so precious. It was so sweet, and I saw on Twitter apparently we're not allowed to say clean anymore because that's like offensive, and I'm probably still gonna say clean when I mean not sex. Sorry. But it was very clean. There is kissing, but no sex because they're like devoutly Amish and stuff. But I didn't feel like the story was missing anything. It was so beautiful. It was a very calming read, which is a weird thing to say, but is how I felt while reading it. Like I cared about these characters, like I was invested, but I wasn't like my heart wasn't racing or anything, and that was kind of a nice relaxing thing. And I kind of want to read more Amish romance now. I already requested another one from NetGalley, and this one I think is like a thriller suspense one, so we'll see. I don't know. And this one also has like a caretaker element. The heroine, her grandfather has Alzheimer's, and she's helping take care of him, and her grandmother is doing very well either, and that was really cute and nice. And I went to college in Amish country, so it was also kind of nice to see that. And it's just nice to see like a different culture. And I have seen recently some people have issues with some Amish romances, and I understand where they're coming from, but I think it might be a little tad dramatic. But I kind of just like reading about other cultures, and I think the Amish community is another culture a lot of people don't get exposure to, so that was fun. And then I finally read The Matchmaker's Playbook by Rachel Van Dyken, I think is how you say the second part of her last name. I gave this 3 stars, I think. I don't know, I talked a little bit about this in my vlog. It's new adult contemporary. What I do really like about it is that this story is told in first person, which I don't like. Not a fan of first person in my romances. I'm not a fan of first person in general, but definitely in my romances. But it was told from the male's POV, which I have never read before, as far as I can remember. So that was different and unique. But I saw the movie adaptation of this first. It's a movie on Passionflix, which I subscribe to. You have to subscribe to it. It's a romance like streaming service kind of thing. And this was one of the movies they did. And the movie is so cornyly good. And the movie is basically the book. Like dialogue and everything. Ripped from the book, which is intentional, I'm sure. I don't mean that in a bad way, like ripped like in a bad way. That it was so hard to read this and not compare it to the movie. And I don't know if but honestly, like, I don't know if I would have liked the book without having seen the movie, because seeing Nick Bateman play this hero who's kind of like a douche, he does it in such a charming way that it works. And so then I was able to like him in the book. I don't know. It's very weird. So I think I gave it 3 stars, but I think if I hadn't seen the movie first, I may have given this 2 stars and never watched the movie. I don't know. And I'm so glad I did. I love the movie. I've seen it so many times. If you have a Passionflix subscription and you haven't watched it, highly recommend it. If not, I highly recommend Passionflix. They don't have a ton of original content, but they have several things, and they have a variety of things that I think are really good. And they're really trying to like make romance movies like for the romance community, and I really appreciate that. Plus, obviously, the woman in charge has a thing for Emma Rigby because she casts her all the time, and she casts her in a Hallmark movie. I saw her as the director on a Hallmark movie that Emma Rigby was in, and I love Emma Rigby, so I'm game for it. I read Curtsies and Conspiracies, which is the second book in the Finishing School series by Gail Carriger. I gave this 4 stars, and oh my gosh, so much happened in this little teeny tiny book. This is like YA, paranormal, steampunk. It's a prequel series to the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger. I loved it. I'm just loving being in this world again, and these characters are great. There are a few overlapping characters from the Parasol Protectorate, but it's mainly new characters, and they're in like a finishing school and stuff, and I'm not going to say much because obviously it's a series. It was so close to a 5-star read, and I just cannot wait to read the next one because I just feel like the series is getting better and better. Like, more things are being revealed, but there's still things I don't know. I'm like obsessed with Sophronia, who's like the main character. I love the friendships in here. They're great. This makes me want to reread the Parasol Protectorate series. Spoiler alert for future book haul. I definitely just placed an order for the first 4 books because I already go into the 5th one. So I probably will reread it. Which I have so many books to read, but and I'm still really hoping for a romance between two very specific characters, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but I want it to happen so badly. So badly. What? Murphy wants it to happen too. That's what he meant by that meow. He told me. I speak Murphy cat. Huh. And then I continued my reread of the Books of Bayern series by Shannon Hale with Anna Burning, which is book 2. This is YA fantasy. They're older fantasy, so I think that the style is very different from what a lot of people are used to now. And just like with the Goose Girl, I listened to this as an audiobook that I got from the library, and it is full cast audio, which is always amazing. I loved it. This was my favorite originally. It is still my favorite. I still give it 5 stars. And I remember not being a huge fan of the last 2 books, like thinking they were good but not great, but I feel like I'm probably gonna love them as audiobooks. This one is darker than the Goose Girl. It deals with like some more serious things. There's a war going on, so it's definitely, there's like death, destruction, things like that. But I really like it. I think Anna is a really interesting character. She has a really interesting arc in this story, like that she has to go through and learn. And I love, I'll say it again, I love all of the friendships and the relationships. Like Anna and Izzy are just such good friends to each other, and I just, if you should have like an Anna or an Izzy in your life, please. They're amazing. And I'm so excited to keep reading / listening. It is taking everything I have not to get River Secrets, because I'm like, no, you have to like do other stuff. You can't just listen to like all of these. And then I finished, I was on like page 150 or something from the library, and then I bought this. Is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Still unsure. I know I used to say it wrong, and then I learned how to say it, and now I can't remember. Sorry. But this is the first book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I ended up giving this 4 stars, maybe a 3. At first I wasn't liking it, then I got super into it, and then I started not liking it as much, so I don't know. I will continue with the series. This is YA fantasy. I would consider this more like fantasy. I feel like a lot of YA fantasy now is really more just fantasy, and I don't know what, like Freya, right? That's how, there's like a pronunciation guide. Oh, Feyre. Okay, whatever. Feyre, she is a little on the older side, and everything, but I feel like this fits in like the same category as like the Poison Study series, and I would not consider that series young adult. Like my library doesn't, they shelve it in their fantasy section, not their young adult section. And so I would classify this more as traditional fantasy, or new adult fantasy, if nothing else, based on the age of the characters and some of the content. I'm actually really interested in the sister, Nesta, and I have no idea if she shows up again. I kind of hope she does, because I think she is the most interesting character in the series. Oh, we had to get in the bin, because now there's only 1 book left in there. Please don't fall and hurt yourself. I like the world. I think it's interesting. I like fairy stories. And I think that they are able to kind of like address things that a lot of other worlds or more human worlds are afraid of addressing, because fairies tend to be darker characters. So I like that, but I feel like there's going to be a love triangle, and I'm not here for love triangles. Freaking hate them. Oh, hi Murphy, we're going to do a walkie walk. Okay. So yeah, but I will continue with the series. I don't necessarily feel the need to pick it up in like the next month or 2 or anything, but I'll try to pick it up at some point. And then I read The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I got this from the library and I gave it 4 stars. It was so close to a 5-star read. Apparently that happened a lot this month. So close. This is a contemporary romance and it reads like a chick flick romantic comedy movie to me. It was so cute. This is another book that is just precious. Oh my gosh, I'm totally trash for this book like everybody else is. It was very funny. It was very cute. It's like an enemies to lovers story, but it's not like angsty and broody and everything, which is just makes it so much better. And I don't know why, but I feel like this would be like a really good gateway romance novel. Like, really hoping that books like this, The Kiss Quotient, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of The Kiss Quotient, will kind of, let me see if there's any, that's really all I have on my shelf. I really hope that books like that will kind of like open people's minds up to romance and realize how good it can be, and they'll read more romance. I know a lot of people have issues with the mass markets, which is how a lot of romance is published, and I personally prefer mass markets. I just think that that's part of the genre and it should never be embarrassing. But I'm hoping more people will read it because of books like this. And I totally plan on buying a physical copy of this ASAP to have on my shelf and to reread because it's adorable. And honestly, the only thing that stopped it from being 5 stars is that I really would have liked to get into Josh's head. Even if it was like an epilogue from his perspective, I could have gone behind that. And I read another e-arc from NetGalley, and that was In a Badger Way by Shelley Lawrenston. And this is the second book in the Honey Badger Chronicles. And this is paranormal. I would call it like paranormal / urban fantasy with a romantic element. I wouldn't call it a romance. There is a romance, there is sexy times, but it's like so not the main part of the story. I read the first book, Hot and Badgered, last year, like right after it came out. And I feel about this book the same way I felt about that one, where like, oh, I gave it 4 stars, by the way. I'm so confused about what is going on in this series, like who all of these characters are. Like, I get it mainly follows 3 sisters who are all, they're like half sisters, and they're all at least half honey badger. Like the one that this one really focuses on, half honey badger, half tiger shifter. The previous book is like half wolf, half honey badger, and then the third sister, who I assume will be the third book, is like full honey badger. I'm pretty sure she's full, you know, honey badger. And they're also like diverse racially, which is cool. But there's other characters that I think come from other Shelley Lawrenston books. I have only read the first Crows book of hers other than these books. I don't know. So I am so confused about who these characters are, but like I could not put this book down. I needed to read it. Like, I don't even care that I'm confused at all. I don't care. And these 3 sisters are crazy. Like, they are honey badgers. And it's so good. And like the like hero character in this one, he is a panda and he is adorable and he is just the sweetest man. I love him. Oh my gosh, the romance was different and I really liked it. I thought it was fun. I really liked the like bond that these sisters have and everything. And like I said, even though I'm confused, I'm like totally here for this series. And am I the only one that gets confused by Shelley Lawrenston? Do I need to go read all of her other books? Will that assist me? I feel like I remember that first Crows book confusing me too. So I don't know. If I need to read all of her books and there's like a particular reading order that will help me be less confused, let me know. The last book I read is the book that I was reading at night, and that is Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. And this was the first time I have reread this. I give it 4 stars, by the way. I think this is still my second favorite Austen. I don't know. I feel like I need to reread all of the ones I like, and then I probably should reread the ones I don't really like. Do I really want to read Mansfield Park for a 3rd time? But maybe I will. We'll see. So, and in case you're wondering, the other one I don't really like is Sense and Sensibility. Just to be clear, you know. So I remember this one being my second favorite. I think it still is my second favorite. The first time I read this was in college. I took a seminar on Jane Austen, so we had to read all Austen. At that point, I had read 3. Yes, 3. So I read the 3 I had not read yet, including this one. I think Catherine, the like heroine of this story, is just the sweetest girl ever, and I think people are so mean to her. They shouldn't be. This book is actually like pretty low-key in the meanness department, but still, Isabella, bleh. That's how I feel about her. And I loved Catherine's friendship. It's the theme of this wrap-up. With Eleanor. It's just so nice. And I'm so glad that people, or at least Austen, wrote about that, like back then, like that this is not just something that you're seeing today, but like female friendship was still a thing. And when in a time when like women were, it was so easy for women to be catty because all you had was like your looks and your station in life, so like taking down other women would be really easy. To see somebody writing about a positive female friendship in the time in which she was living, I think is amazing. I know Austen like loved her sister, so I'm sure that is a contributing factor, but you know. And Henry Tilney is just like one of the sweetest heroes ever. So that was really cute. And like I was reading a chapter every night, and then last night I was like, there was like 5 chapters left, and I was just like, I just need to read. And I don't think most people think of like Austen or any classic as a book like that, but I need it. And I remember Persuasion being the same way when I did my reread of that a couple of years ago. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. And if anyone knows of a good Northanger Abbey adaptation, or honestly any adaptation that I can watch, let me know. Hit me up so I can seek it out, because I would really like to see one. Also, if you know where I can get any like pretty covers of this, or Persuasion really, or Emma, I know you can get Pride and Prejudice covers like everywhere, but I've been looking, and I'll even take a box set if they're all pretty, even if that means I have to have Sense and Sensibility and Mansfield Park on my shelf, because I want prettier copies of these. I will probably keep all of my current copies as like reading copies, because I'm that kind of person. But yeah, so let me know that too. So that's my really long wrap up of the 14 books that I read in March. I'm so excited. I can't believe I read that many books. Read-A-Rama definitely contributed. I'm very excited going into April to see how many I can read then. Plus, hopefully I will finish the Finishing School series, because I've been trying to like ration them out, but I just feel like that's not gonna happen, and I'm gonna have to finish it in April. But yeah, that is my wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.